Hey guys, I know school is officially over, but we didn't get to finish the one and only Bob, so I figured I would just read a bunch each day and upload a video for you just for the week so that you can hear the rest of the story. Let's go ahead and jump in. Remember, Bob was at the zoo visiting Ivan and Stella. I mean, Ruby, not Stella. Tiny but tough. Ivan always seems like nothing scares him, not even Kenyani, who scares the heck out of me. On the outside, I suppose that's how I look too. Tiny but tough. But inside, well, sometimes no matter how hard I try, I can't find that guy to save my life. It's like he's cowering in some corner of my heart. I hate it when that happens. I hate that I'm not the guy my friends think I am, the guy the world expects. I keep waiting for things to go bad on me, worrying that my nice, tidy little dog life will blow up in my face. I think George is a worrier too. He'll get up in the middle of the night and head to the kitchen sometimes. His old slippers scuffing on the wooden floor. I always hear him, always join him. When he opens the fridge, the light spills out like maple syrup on a hot pancake. Ooh, that's a good way to describe that. Wonderful scents drift my way. Leftover meatloaf, stinky cheese, expired yogurt that someone might as well eat, and it seems like the dog is the safest bet. The smells rain around me, and yeah, my tongue starts hanging out, and I nudge George's PJ'd leg. You can't sleep either, huh? He'll say, or maybe I can tell if you have insomnia. I can't tell if you have insomnia or just a very acute sense of smell. Both, actually. I wait. He usually makes himself a PB&J with banana, which is good with me because the crusts are where you really get that fun chew factor going. Now and then after we eat, we sit on the back porch and George scratches my ears, especially my right ear. It's my favorite. I understand his worry, I think. George works so hard. His wife was really sick for a long time, and he loves his daughter so much. Sometimes when Julia climbs on the school bus, I'll watch George watching her. All that caring and concern is painful to smell, especially the briny scent of the stray tear he'll flick aside with the back of his hand like sea spray. More than once, George and I have dozed off together. That's the best kind of snooze, if you ask me. Good, warm, safe in someone's arms, sleep. Not talking. Often, when I'm with Ivan, we don't even bother talking. We just look out at his domain, at the green grass and the crazy babies and the swaggering juveniles and the hard-working females. And we think of nothing and everything. When you've been through the worst with someone, you appreciate the best. That's why sometimes when he says, "Hey, Bob," it's enough for me to say, "Hey, Ivan." And then we just listen to the palm trees rustle and watch the sawgrass sway. Brave. Once, when we were still at the mall, I told Ivan how brave I thought he was. The way he put up with everything that had happened to him and never stopped being a good guy. Ivan just looked at me, cocked that big old head of his, nodded a bit. "That's not brave, Bob," he finally said. "That's just knowing what I can't change." "I call it brave," I said. "I call it crazy brave." Ivan held a browning banana up to the light, like it was the most beautiful thing he'd ever seen in his long gorilla life. I wondered whether he was going to eat it or draw it. You never knew with Ivan. "Seems to me there are lots of ways to be brave, Bob," he said. A tiny mouse named Eek skittered across his cage floor. "Hey, Eek," said Ivan. "Just checking for crumbs," she said nervously, because she always sounded nervous. "Dibs on all the leftovers," I reminded her. She looked so terrified that I relented. "Over there behind the tire, old Carrot Top." "Respect, Bob," she said, scampering off. "Take a small creature like Eek," said Ivan. He scratched his chin with the end of the banana. He did that when he was in a philosophical mood. Maybe brave for a mouse is different from brave for me or brave for you. He looked at me fondly. "You're the bravest dog I know, pal." "I ain't brave." I chewed on my tail, avoiding his gaze. "You are, Bob, untamed and undaunted," said Ivan, and he chomped off a hunk of banana. He offered the rest to me, but I shook my head. I wasn't feeling hungry. Also, it was mostly just the peel. That's just my shtick, my routine, I hesitated. I mean, sure, I'm tough compared to, say, eek, but that's setting the bar pretty low. You're too hard on yourself sometimes, Bob. I met his eyes. He has these dark brown, deep-set eyes, really kind ones, eyes that make you want to admit things, confess to your failures. Once when I was little, just a pup, I did something. Ivan waited patiently. Ivan is the king of patience. I felt myself dashing into a dead-end tunnel I couldn't escape. I didn't want to go there, not even with Ivan. Never mind, I yawned. I do that when I'm anxious. I'm rambling. Bob? Ivan said. You okay? You know me, Ivan. I'm always okay. Always. I slipped away before he could ask me anything more. Ruby. Uncle Bob! Ruby races over, glump, glump, across the broad field that's part of the elephant domain. She's so cute when she runs, like she's determined not to trip on her own trunk. Ruby adores me. I make her laugh. I read the room. I lighten the mood. Got to admit, I am kind of adorable. When I'm with Ivan, I think, pal, we've been through a lot, you and me. We are survivors. When I'm with little Ruby, I think, girl, look at you. Hard luck past, and here you are, so much happier, so loved. Ruby, like Ivan, was plucked from Africa as a baby. She ended up in a circus that went bankrupt. Then she got shipped off to Max Mall. Ruby was taken in by dear old Stella. When Stella passed away, Ivan stepped in to play, well, elephant dad, I guess. I did my part too, not because I felt like I had to, just made life easier. Elephant toddlers are a handful. You think humans are bad? Try putting a 200-pound baby elephant in timeout. Ruby's family. Little Ruby seems much more content at the park, surrounded by her new herd. Old and young and in between, they spoil that adorable pachyderm like you wouldn't believe. She deserves every minute of it. Kid had a rough start. Seems elephants hang out in packs of females. Now that she's at the park, Ruby has adoptive sisters and aunts and grandmothers galore. In the wild, the elephant guys head off once they're old enough, and they do their own thing. Sometimes I lose track of who's who among the elephants, because they're always taking mud baths, scrambling their smells. By the way, what kind of animal actually likes baths? Mud, sure. Ivan's art. How's it going, girl? I call to Ruby as she stops near the moat edging the wall. I had a cantaloupe for breakfast, Uncle Bob, and it was so yummy, and then I took a mud bath. She pauses to take a breath. Do you want to hear a new dog riddle, Uncle Bob? Of course I do, I say, and I catch Ivan's amused glance. What kind of dog is always on time? Asks Ruby. You got me, Ruby. I'm totally baffled, befuddled, bewildered. What kind of dog? A watchdog, Ruby exclaims. Watchdog, get it, Uncle Bob? Not bad, Ruby, not bad at all, I say. Ivan says it's going to rain buckets, says Ruby. She dips her trunk in the moat and blows bubbles. I think Ivan is onto something there. Did he show you his new picture? Ruby asks. She grabs a tuft of grass and tosses it in the air. I wish I could see it, but I can't because of that silly wall, but he told me all about it. My pal Ivan is quite the artist, just like Julia. Ivan sits up and nods toward a spot on the wall. Another mud mural? I ask. As any good dog knows, dirt plus water equals mud, and mud means mess, and mess means let's roll in this stuff and maybe dig a hole or 2 or 10. But for Ivan, mud plus a flat surface equals a waiting canvas. I crane my neck, edging a bit farther down the top of the wall. Don't want to draw attention to myself. Hey, nice, I say. I mean, I'm not an art guy. To me, art is a glop of spray cheese on a cheese dog with extra grated cheese on top. Still, I've always admired Ivan's work. Ivan begins. No, I say, don't tell me, let me guess. You always guess wrong, Ivan says. Not always. You thought my palm tree was a dandelion. Art is in the eye of the beholder, I say. You thought my blackberries were giant ants. Kenyani ambles up to join in the conversation. And need I remind you that you thought his portrait of me was a chimpanzee with gas? The resemblance was striking, I say. Kenyani glares at me. She glares at me a lot. On the subject of chimps, probably I shouldn't have mentioned the chimp angle. Gorillas aren't as open-minded as dogs. A lot of them have a thing about chimps. They think they're clowns. But when I look at apes and gorillas, seems to me they have a lot more in common than they admit to. Dogs ain't perfect, but I'll tell you one thing where we rule: tolerance. For us, a dog is a dog is a dog. I see a Great Dane, I say howdy. I run into a puggle, it's glad to meet you. How's it going? Smelled any good pee lately? Go to a dog park and you'll see we are all equal opportunity playful. You sniff my rear, I sniff yours. You don't see that with humans, obviously, constantly seeing differences where none exist. All those things like skin color, dogs could care less. You think I won't hang with the Dalmatian because he's spotted, or a Shar-Pei because he's wrinkled? I'm not saying I love every dog I meet. Snickers comes to mind. But I'll always give a dog the benefit of the doubt. Life is short, play is good, and there are plenty of tennis balls to go around. A very handsome dog. Hi, Aunt Kenyani, Ruby calls. Once again, Ruby, says Kenyani, I am not your aunt. I am a primate, and you, my dear, are not. More's the pity. But if Ivan is my uncle, then you have to be my aunt, Ruby declares. Ahem, says Ivan, pointing to the wall. My painting, Bob. I consider. It looks like a dog. Ruby flaps her ears. I can tell she is trying very hard to stay quiet. A very handsome dog, I add. Is it? It is, Ruby exclaims. It's you, Uncle Bob. Uncle Ivan told me. But who's that? I ask, pointing to another set of mud strokes. I thought you needed a companion, says Ivan. I know you must get lonely at home all by yourself all day. It's true, but I've never mentioned that to Ivan. Guy's like a mind reader. I think Snickers and Bob would make a cute couple, says Ruby. I blink in disbelief. Bite your trunk! Ruby starts to reply, but her voice is drowned out by a sharp clap of thunder. Storm's getting close, says Kenyani. Ivan, dear, come on. You know how you hate the damp. It's true. He carries around old burlap bags so he won't have to sit on wet grass. Ivan looks at me sheepishly. She knows me so well. Kudzu, one of the baby gorillas, bounds over and leaps onto Ivan's back. Ivan loves all the youngsters, but Kudzu is his favorite. I think she reminds him of his little twin sister, Tag, who died when she was still a baby. And I know you guys remember that because we learned all about Tag in The One and Only Ivan and how she just couldn't make it in captivity. It was too much for her to handle. So this little gorilla reminds Ivan of his little sister, Tag. All right, we will stop there for now. See you soon.